Let's play the next TBC video. Will GDKP be the only good way to farm gold in TBC? GDKP's gone on too fucking far, man. Like, and here's the thing. Inherently, there is nothing wrong with GDKP. But because gold farming and gold buying, like gold buying and gold selling, is so shameless and disgusting, GDKP has been a manifestation, like an extension of gold farming and gold selling. So, if there was no gold farming, or I keep saying gold farming, if there was no gold buying and gold selling, I think GDKP would be fine. But because gold buying and gold selling is so fucking shameless right now, like I don't know, dude. You guys are probably sick of GDKP, right? You see that shit everywhere, right? I don't think it looks good for the game. Like, if there is a new player in the WoW section watching a stream, and they open a Classic WoW stream, and it's a GDKP stream, do you think that gives them a good impression of the game or a bad impression of the game? Like, they see items going for like 400,000 gold, and it's like, yo, what the fuck is this? They look up the RMT value of that. It's like, 17,000 USD. It's like, yo, what in the fuck is going on in this game? It's really bad, man. I don't know. At this point, dude, like, and it's sort of like the cycle where the snake eats its own tail. Like, people are, like, GDKP is popping off because people buy gold, and then people buy gold because GDKP is popping off. It just is a cyclical thing. So, I don't know, dude. Like, if I would just fucking ban GDKP, like, honestly, man, like, I don't know. Like, if you want raid gear, just go play the fucking game. Join a guild, play the game. Like, I don't know. If you had asked me a year ago how I felt about it, like, I would have said it's okay, but seeing how it's ended up with Classic WoW, it's just too fucking much, man.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, WillE here. Over time in Classic WoW, the ways that you can pretty easily make gold, or at least stay afloat in the economy, have been generally pretty consistent. It used to be the case you'd be able to get by with things like just herbing, doing laps of zones, mining, or the whole boosting scene, which has become more and more prevalent as we have gone onwards. But over time, gold bid or GDKP runs have really come up as a big way to earn a lot of gold pretty easily. So it's definitely the result of a late game classic economy. Open world farms nowadays are just super competitive. Blizzard haven't done much of a good job.
Why is this video quality so bad? Wait, what is this?
Tales of people.
Stop, pause. What is this new button? Autoplay is off. Oh, that's actually a really good YouTube feature. That's really good, dude.
Flying through the ground to mine rich thorium veins, or people logging in spamming eagle eye macros on Black Lotus spawns, which I actually thought was going to be a thing that would happen, but I'm kind of surprised that it has all the same.
Nixon, good morning,
dude. Good morning.
Good morning.
Edge the average player out of the market unless you're super into it as a gold farmer. I even hear that it's difficult to compete on small servers as well. Arcane crystals have started to drop off as the demand falls off a cliff for them. They're just not as useful for as many things in Phase 6. Black Lotus remains somewhat consistent due to their usefulness in TBC, but still.
Well, like, before we get into this, someone said, like, only idiots buy GDKP items for insane amounts of gold, so it doesn't affect anyone. Like, what happens is, people will buy, like, you'll have, like, noob dumb fucks that have a lot of money in real life. Like, they will buy gold, they'll bring it to a GDKP, and then that gold will be distributed amongst the boosters in the GDKP, and then those, like, actual legitimate players, like, they're playing the game, they're good players, they have a good guild, these are the boosters of the GDKP. Like, these people are buying flasks and buying consumes and buying this shit. Like, it's that gold is still impacting you because that, like, through, like, 2 different layers of players is now increasing the price of flasks and the price of consumes and the price of mana pots. And one of the big complaints I hear about Classic WoW is, like, Next Rammus is too fucking expensive. I don't want to raid Next Rammus because it's too fucking expensive. And the reason why this shit's so fucking expensive is because people are buying gold. And when people buy gold, they spend it on shit. And when they spend it on shit, it distributes amongst the rest of the players. And it inflates everything in the fucking economy. So, like, you can't say it doesn't impact you and then complain about shit being too fucking expensive on the auction house. Like, it's actually killing the fucking game, dude. It's so bad.
Still, even with the increased spawn rates, which was changed ages ago now, they're still not very easy to come across. Used to be able to get by and buy your consumables from a whole variety of farms, but nowadays, whenever I see a post online or people talking about struggling to keep up in Naxxramas to afford the prices to raid, or that the raid is demanding of them, there's always that one comment saying, nah, just run a few GDKPs, it's easy to keep up, or I just run 1 or 2 every other week and I'm absolutely fine. And it's not just the result of the late game economy, but people have more alts now. They have more characters that they can run through GDKPs to support their main character's consumable needs. Now, of course, it's not your God-given right to have every single consumable respecs as you wish, epic mounts and stacks of gold left over just from a casual bit of farming. Currency is still a very valuable thing in Classic, but what was the go-to gold makers just feel so outdated and difficult to compete in, and to keep up with the costs of raiding with a reasonable time frame, it feels like a lot of people are having to do gold bid runs. Based on my own experience, I haven't needed to do gold bid runs ever personally. I don't really raid with the intention of making money, I spend a lot more than I'd ever make, but I stopped bothering doing open world farming somewhere between phase 2 and 3, I'd say, between the ganking, the amount of competition, the lack of Black Lotus spawns back then, just to mention a few things. It really became an unviable option for me, so I turned to instance farming, which feels like the only true alternative to GDKP because, well, it's instant, you don't have competition, you don't have interruptions, the only thing holding you back is your instance cap, and back then I farmed around 800 or so Diamond East and I made a good amount of gold from that, and later on midway through phase 5, I transferred server off Gehennis over to Pirewood Village and I ended up making a lot of gold from that. In fact, the most gold I've made in Classic has been from server transferring. For example, arcane crystals on Gehennis I bought for about 50 gold.
I would have bet that
they were going for 85 plus on Pirewood.
Oh,
Cloth
fuck,
was the same
wow.
deal, easily
really
double in price, same with Bloodvine. So technically, the most money I've ever made in Classic has been from spending real life money. So, yeah, it's funny how things work out, isn't it? What about the Burning Crusade, though? Is open world farming going to be in a better shape than it is at the moment? Are we all going to be forced into instance farming again? What about the new cooldown items from tailoring like Spellcloth or alchemy like Primal Might? There's going to be plenty of people with profession alt armies set up ready to go.
Yep.
Everybody will be doing these brand new methods, and sure, they're going to be good, but...
Dude, Nixon, I'm sorry, my TTS is broken today, but that says, do you think Blizzard removed the click to move feature? It would help a lot with the botting issue in Classic. I don't know how the bots operate. I don't know. Like, I don't know if botting programs are using click to move. I have no idea. I actually have no idea because I don't bot, so I don't know. Yes, it would. You think so? I just don't fucking know, dude.
Will they be better than joining a gold bid run where players throw hundreds of thousands of gold into a collective pot? Well, maybe in the early raids when the demand is super high, but as the later tiers go on, much like it's been the case with Classic, I don't think there will be a better way to make gold still. How much do you think a Dragon Spine trophy from WillE will go for? What about a Warglaive? Imagine that. This is where the conversations about limiting the amount of gold being taken over really come into the equation. Would it be beneficial? I have no doubt it would be. Is it possible? Well, that's the tough one. I don't really see a way that it is. What if we set the gold amount to a certain value? People will have...
I don't know, like, all of this stuff, and it's good to talk about, but it's all like fucking band-aid fixes for the bigger problem of Blizzard not banning the fucking botters and gold sellers and gold buyers. Like, if you have ever bought gold, you should be permabanned. If you've ever sold gold, you should be permabanned. If you've ever been caught botting, you should be permabanned. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. All of those people, every single one should be permabanned from this game. Like, it's just so fucking bad. Like, that's all there is to it. Boils down, like, yeah, like, it just boils down to that. It's like, where's all this fucking gold coming from? People that are botting. That, like, that's what it is. Like, Blizzard has to step up their fucking game, dude.
Banks full of items to sell. Do we remove every item from the game that isn't soulbound then? Well, is going into TBC with literally 0 vanilla resources in the entire game really a good idea? Want to level jewel crafting? You better get your mining pick out and head over to Elwyn Forest, buddy, because that's what you're going to have to do. Vanilla resources are already going to be more scarce than TBC. Also, it doesn't stop people saving expensive green items, like two-handers for example, equipping them on a character so they're soulbind, and then selling them once the new expansion happens. Also, how do you tell a more casual player who's built up his gold and resources over the space of nearly 2 years that actually we're going to be deleting a bunch of your stuff? So players who are pretty much already going to be much more hardcore than you at the game can get ahead of you in about...
I don't know, like, I would, and they can probably do this, I would look at what the average, like, account net worth between items and gold is for your average, normal, Classic WoW player that's not a total degen, and then set the gold transfer cap or, like, value transfer cap going into TBC around that value. So if they determine that your average Classic player has on their account a value of, like, I don't know, like let's say 4K between gold and mats. They have like 4K value. Like set it around there. And that way, normal players, like normal everyday players, aren't punished too much. You know, like if you're a super tryhard, you like the super tryhards are the people that are affected the most by that. They get fucked, but they're super tryhards. They can get their value back again, no big deal. It really punishes people who have been industrially gold farming and botting. So I think that's a good middle ground. Like and I'm saying that as someone that has a lot of resources and has a lot of gold. Like, just fuck me in the ass if it'll make the game better. And I think that's what they should do.
About the space of a week again, because that's what's going to happen. I really can't think of a solution to the actual volumes of gold that are in the game, which can be remedied moving over to TBC, though I do agree that it probably should happen. I just don't know how to do it. Then again, the real need for gold in the Burning Crusade is early, not progressively more and more as we've seen in Classic. True. Mainly for all the crafted profession items, which are extremely powerful for a long period of time. You have more routes to make gold as well. Leveling through mainly dungeons and then questing at level cap can earn a good few thousand gold. Dailies will be a thing in a later phase. They won't be in from launch, which will be another good way to get some passive income going. And perhaps the biggest one, well, I'd say so at least, would be the reduction in the amount of consumables that we need to use. No longer will it be the...
Now, let me run this idea. Okay, this is an idea I had. I think I've mentioned it once, but I want to say it again. What if Blizzard added a crazy fucking gold sink in TBC? What if Blizzard let you buy 310% flying mount speed for like 25,000 gold? So normally, a normal flying mount, 1,000 gold. A 280% flying mount is 5,000 gold. And the only way to get 310 flying speed is Gladiator or Ashes of Alar. Right? You can't buy it. You have to get a fast mount, which is Gladiator mount or Ashes of Alar. What if they added a crazy fucking gold sink just to get gold out of the game, right? They just get gold out of the game. 25,000 gold or whatever, like some crazy amount of gold for 310 flying speed. It doesn't matter. Like it would just benefit the bots. I really like... How would that benefit the bots? Like, maybe that would incentivize people more. That would incentivize more people to buy gold to get it for the sake of getting it. It wouldn't help them farm gold faster, really. It's 30% faster, and most of the good gold farms aren't reliant on mount speed, right? They're inside of instances. There are some open world farms that are decent, right? Like farming primals, but that's not like mount speed dependent really, and it wouldn't really have a big impact on that. But yeah, I guess you make the argument that it would like motivate people to buy gold more because they would want that sense of completion and buy the 310 speed. Yeah, maybe. In
case that you're popping half a dozen different consumables for each pull in the Burning Crusade, as all items are either made into Guardian or Battle Elixirs, flasks counting as both. So your consumable list will go down from needing an entire...
We were just talking about having the gold sink of GDKP cause this problem. GDKP is not a gold sink in the same way that buying a 25,000 gold mount is. Like, if you spend 25,000 gold on like the 310% flying mount, that gold is straight out of the game. Like, that gold is poof, you give it to the vendor, gone, it's no longer in circulation. If you're spending gold, I don't think he knows what a gold sink means. Yeah, maybe. Like, if you're spending gold in a let's say you spend 25,000 gold in a GDKP run, that gold is being given to other players, and those other players take that gold that they've received in the GDKP run from you, and they spend that on other shit in the economy. That gold is still in circulation. The idea of a gold sink is it removes gold from the game. A GDKP run recirculates it, so it's... bad comparison. Totally different, man.
Entire bank hole for them to flask, potion, food, which will put a big hit in the amount of gold that you're going to need to go out there and farm. And instead, you can just do what you like, and to a certain degree, you should be able to find your raid consumes much more affordable. With
special mounted title. You know what I totally forgot? Like, they actually added another gold sink at the end of TBC in the final patch. They added another gold sink. You know what it is? And it was a title. You had to get exalted with the Order of the, what is it called, the fucking Shattered Sun or whatever, exalted with Isle of Quel'Danas people, and you could buy the title. You had to be exalted, you could buy it for 1,000 gold. So people were buying that dog shit title for 1,000 gold, They added that as a gold sink at the end of TBC, probably because shit was getting out of hand, like inflation was getting out of hand, right?
Which I think is only ever a good thing. Whereas in Classic, it's been exactly the opposite. We've had quite a few easy raids in a row now, where the consumables have been more of a offset to a learning curve to a certain degree, until we've come around to Naxxramas, and there's been a lot more guilds wiping and finding progression. Whereas in the past, you'd be so used to popping everything for every pull because you're just so used to one-shotting things. But now you're actually wiping consistently and perhaps going through hundreds, or I even hear sometimes thousands of gold in the space of a raid night, or perhaps a week, which just isn't sustainable for a lot of players, hence the need to swap over to GDKPs shouldn't be as much of a thing in the Burning Crusade. So will you be essentially forced to run GDKP to remain competitive and make a good amount of gold in TBC, whilst I think it will still be...
Let me see. Do you think mages in ZF was the beginning of the downfall of Classic WoW economy? I think not having an AoE cap, like, it was, like, really fucking bad. It impacted it a lot. And then, of course, it's like, you know, okay, because it's so lucrative, what are bots going to bot? They're going to bot mages AoE farming. Like, that's what they bought. Not having AoE cap was really fucking bad. I love how in chat, very fast 2 responses. Steve's a mage and Insole's a mage. They said, no, impacted less of bots. No. 2 fucking mages chime in immediately, dude. No.
Overall, the best way you can make gold, I don't think that will be the case. I think the environment we'll have early on into TBC, where everybody's doing the new methods, the new cooldown items, gathering the new resources, should be able to get you in a nice amount of gold on top of level capped questing if you do opt into doing that. Of course, there'll be the actual prices that things start moving for on the auction house, and how competitive open world will be, which will no doubt be considerably more so than it was in Classic, but hopefully it shouldn't be impossible, just because, well, as the expansion goes on, there's less you need.
I just thought of this, like, one of the big differences between, like, Hunter gold farming Dire Maul Tribute, or Warlocks gold farming Dire Maul East, or Warlocks farming Moradon, there's, like, different types of gold. It's like, yeah, like, you're farming, like, X amount of value per gold per hour, but what is the makeup of that value? Is it raw gold, or is it items that you're going to sell to other players for gold? And so one thing that mages have always had with their gold farms, a big portion of mage gold farms is just straight up raw gold. Like, mages are just printing fucking raw gold into the game, where if you're a hunter farming gold or a warlock farming gold, you are farming resources more often than not, like most of the time, yeah, farming resources that you're selling to other players for gold. So I think the raw, straight up fucking gold that, like, they're just printing, not resources, just gold, that was also, that's one of the aspects that made the mage farm more detrimental than other gold farms also. Rogue is worse. Yeah, like, Rogue is another one with the BRD botting. That's just straight fucking gold also, right?
Gold for. The reason I think GDK...
As if Moradon isn't vendor gold, Moradon is probably 25% vendor gold per hour, and then 75% shit you're selling to other players. Like, if you had to guess, if you're farming Zul'Farrak, what percent of that gold per hour is straight up gold? What percent is gold, and what percent is shit you're selling to other players? Is items. Items versus gold. Because Moradon is probably 25% gold, 75% items you're selling. Zul'Farrak is like, it's like 95% raw gold. There you go. Like, that's a big fucking difference, right?
The piece will still be the best. It's much like in Classic. As we go on through the expansion, more people level alts, more people have more spare time, and then you'll be wanting to buy items not only for PvE, but now we have Arena, a much more competitive PvP environment where people will definitely want to be throwing gold on some really powerful nets, rings,
dude,
trinkets, or even weapons at times. I think if you do have any concerns with gold and TBC, it's going to be really early on, when we see people with gold cap running into an economy and trying to corner items really early on. So what do you think about the gold making situation in TBC? Do you think it's going to be GDKP or die? Do you think just gathering resources or perhaps dungeon grinding will be good enough? How about the boosting meta? It will not be as good as it is at the moment because mages get AoE capped. Prop paladins take over the reins though. And what about gold resets in the Burning Crusade? Do you have any thoughts towards that? I've given it several looks into, and I just can't think of a way which does it smoothly without really negatively impacting an area of the game, so you can let me know. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you in the next one very soon. If you like what you see, do...
Let me show you something here. What are the restrictions on gold or resources when transferring a character? I think it's 2k gold Anything else I forget? So let's take a look real quick. But yeah, it's I actually can't really show you. It's 2,000 gold and then no resources either, I think. 2,000 gold, no resources. I mean, I'm insofar as resources are not limited. I don't know, like, okay, how would they do it? Let me play some music here for a second. Okay, 2,000 gold per level 60, right? What would you do? Like, and this is the same as the transfer rule. What would you do about items? Items you have, because people do have insane fucking value wrapped up in items in their mailbox or in their bank and stuff. Only bring in soulbound shit. I don't know, man. I think it's kind of too restrictive, really. That is. Do you think that's too restrictive? I kind of think that's too restrictive. Soulbound items only. I don't know, man. Okay, if you limit it to only shit you have in your bank. Actually, you do limit it a lot because otherwise people would use their mailbox to just like funnel shit in at TBC. But still, you can bring in a lot of fucking value just with your available bank slots. You can bring in a lot of value. I mean, like people would just make a bunch of fucking bank alts and put all their mailbox shit in the bank alts, right? In the bank alts banks. That's what they would do. So it's not really that much of a hindrance. Like it'd be a small inconvenience, but it wouldn't be that big of a hindrance. Dode cap, you lose 50% of gold above 2k and 80% above 5k. Now you're talking like a progressive tax system. Okay, Bernie Sanders. Okay, Bernie. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The gold is actually the least of the three issues. There's three ways to bring value into TBC, right? The first way is gold. The second way is raw items, like bring in a bunch of stacks of Black Lotus in or whatever the fuck. Whatever the resources, your jewel crafting kits, whatever. And then the third way is bringing in professionals. So, and I would say the most damaging is professionals, and then the second most is items you bring in, and then the third most is gold. Really. Professionals are going to be the most damaging for early game TBC economy, so we can talk about the gold thing all day, but like what it comes down to is like professionals, if you want to like keep the integrity of the early game economy in TBC, you got to do something about professionals too. I don't fucking know. Like, maybe you limit the amount of characters you can bring into TBC, like one level 60 per week or something like that. Like, you can't have all your characters available from day one. I don't know. It's a real shame. And, like, this is one of the problems with, like, modern day gaming. And I get why people do it. Like, I can't hate on them for doing it. It is what it is. In fact, I do it. But how seriously people take video games and how much people min-max video games, MMOs particularly, World of Warcraft super particularly, really causes a lot of fucking issues. Like, back in vanilla, back in TBC, like, people kind of just, like, played the game. They didn't really, like, min-max, like, 1/10 of what people min-max today. Like, people just kind of logged in and played. Yeah, people just played for fun. It's totally different now. So, you have to have, like, stupid bullshit-ass rules like this in order to make it so the game is just fucking playable on a basic level for a normal guy that can only play a couple hours a day. Like seriously, imagine trying to play Classic WoW, only being able to play 2 or 3 hours a day. And most people would still say that's a lot. Like, most normal people would say, you play WoW 3 hours a day? What the fuck? But, like, that, you just can't play competitively. You just can't. You cannot play WoW seriously competitively if you're only playing 2 or 3 hours a day. You just can't do it. So, I don't know, man. I don't really know what they can do about it. I have no fucking... It's rookie numbers. Yeah, I know, man. I don't know. That's what I do, and it's rough. Yep. Look what he says. He says, you almost feel forced to buy gold. Yeah, I know. Like, and it's fucking terrible. And it's sort of this, like... I don't know, like, self-replicating cycle or self-repeating cycle where... if there was no gold buying and the economy wasn't so fucking inflated, you wouldn't have to buy gold to buy your consumes and do this. But if you can only play 2 or 3 hours a day, like, because there's gold buying, because everything is so inflated, you feel further motivated to buy gold because everything is so inflated because of gold buying, right? It's like, if there was no gold buying, if you played 2 or 3 hours a day, you could buy your way in. You could pay for your consumes just by sort of casually playing, but shit's just so fucking inflated. So it's rough, dude. I feel bad for the casuals. The casuals are getting fucked 10 different ways, man. They're getting fucked 10 different ways. What do you do about it? What do you do? It's like having these conversations. Having these conversations, the more we talk about it, the more I just am leaning towards fresh TBC 1 to 70. But here's a problem with that. Like there's like 50,000 different problems with that also. That's not the right answer either. There's so many problems doing that also. People have huge attachment to their current classic characters and classic accounts. Like, you got rank 14, you got Scarab Lord, you did this, or you got this weapon, you got a Thunder Fury. People want to bring that progress into TBC with them. That was sort of the expectation. I think that's totally reasonable and totally understandable. People want to have that progress with them and carry it forward. I get that. So if they didn't let people do that, yeah, a lot of people would quit. A lot of people would quit, I think, and it would turn a lot of people away. So there's that. There'd be fucking riots, right? Casuals are basically forced to buy gold after saying every single person who bought gold should be banned. Yeah. Like, I can have both of those opinions. Like, if you are buying gold, you should be banned. At the same time, considering the economy of this game is so colossally fucked, at the same time, I'm sort of empathetic towards people that have bought gold. Because it's very, very hard, unless you're playing like fucking 10 hours a day, or have been making some long-term CEO fucking investments from phase 1 or phase 2, it's very hard to play this game effectively. Like, for me, dude, like, I have a lot of gold, I've made a lot of investments, I've played this game a fuck ton, okay? I have a lot of gold. If I'm raiding next Rammus, and I'm playing on Fairlina, okay? If I show up to raid with a flask, and proper protection potions, and double elixirs, and a weapon oil, so I am playing my character to its fullest capacity, I'm spending 1,500 gold a week to raid. I'm spending 1,500 gold a week to raid with current prices of consumes. Is that sustainable for normal people? I'm not a normal player. I've spent a fuck ton of time. Do you think that's going to incentivize people to keep playing the game, or to get people to quit the game? People are quitting this game. People are quitting the game because it's not the next Rammus that's hard. It's too fucking expensive. Like, it's expensive. And if you only, like, let's say like a normal raider, you go to a 40-man raid, you raid next Rammus, let's say you're even full clearing it. You might get one piece of gear a week, maybe one piece of gear every 2 weeks. It's hard to justify spending 1,500 gold, maybe 2,000 gold depending on the server, to get 1 or 2 pieces of loot a month, right? It's very hard to justify that for your average player, and they're just like, fuck this. Like, this is fucking terrible. It was always like that? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was not. Like, and before I show this, like, I'm gonna address that. So you said it was always like that. In phase 1, you could buy a flask for about 60. This is on Fairlina. Okay, you could buy a flask for about 60 gold in phase 1, and most classes could farm 60 gold an hour. 60 gold an hour in phase 1 was nothing uncommon. In fact, if you were a mage or certain other classes, a warlock, I could farm more than that. So you could buy a flask for 60, 65 gold, and if you know what you're doing, your average gold farm might be 50, 60 gold, and if you know what you're doing, you're farming 100 or 120 gold per hour. This is phase 1 of Classic WoW. Now, your average gold farm, I would say, is probably 100 or 120 gold. That's your average status quo gold farm. And if you know what you're doing, you can farm magnitudes more than that. But average, everyday, normal player gold farm, maybe 100 or 120 gold per hour. And a flask is 500 gold. So don't tell me it was always like that. The value of your hours spent in this game is 1/5 of what it used to be, right?